If we want to talk about separating families, if you would have came over here legal in the first place, you wouldn't have been separated from your family.
We out here in these streets.
All right, guys, we're back. We're talking about the first subject, and this subject is talking about building this wall. And we're talking about, and this is obviously leading into illegal immigration. One of the reasons why we're building a wall. Look, guys, I know that there's a lot of rhetoric out there about this wall and Trump hating immigrants and all this stuff. I don't care about that. I'm going to talk about the reason why this wall is needed. One, before you trolls get out here and say, well, you're separating families. We're not separating families. Let me say, when you come to the argument of separating families, the people who came over here illegally are the ones that separated their families. So because they came over here illegal, now they're trying to bring the rest of their family over, and you're going to say, we're separating families. No, you did that when you came here. You did that when you came here. Because if you came in legally, you can actually get your family in legally because you know the process and you know how to get it done. Just saying, common sense. Remember, I always say, I'm not Christocratic. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm Christocratic. And I say that in my last segment of the show when I'm talking about politics. But this is going to be a whole political thing. So I'm common sense. I'm Christocratic. My own politics. Common sense. If we want to talk about separating families, if you would have came over here legal in the first place, you wouldn't have been separated from your family. So stop blaming Trump. Stop blaming the government. Stop blaming Hillary or Obama. And I'm talking to the conservative type too. Let's talk about individual responsibility. If you, as the illegal immigrant, did not come over here illegally in the first place, you would know the process to get your family here legally. I'm just saying, because there's always been a legal method to come to this country. Just because you don't want to go through the process doesn't mean it's a flawed process. And because it takes too long, of course it takes long. Because we don't want people here who are going to do bad things in our country. We got enough people here doing bad things that we got to take care of. We're not going to add that. So yes, it's a long process, but it's a process that you have to do legally. So one of the reasons why the wall is one, safety. People, here's the thing that people are not talking about. The minute you cross the border in secret, you go through methods that are not through the actual gates that or the places, the checkpoints. Because just like when we go to the airport, every time we go to an airport, we go to the country, guess what? We go through customs. We have to make sure that we don't have any fruits or any vegetables that don't belong in here because they haven't been FDA approved. There's a lot of stuff that you got to go through when you go through customs. So first of all, you're coming from another country into this country illegally. We got to make sure you're not carrying something illegal over here. So you have to go through the checkpoints. So that brings me to the safety issue. If you're coming through illegally, 9 times out of 10, and this is not Chris, this is actually a statistical fact that they're bringing something with them illegal, whether it's weapons, whether it's drugs. They're bringing something illegal, or they may be forced to do it because of obviously MS-13 and the cartel down in certain countries. You're doing something illegal. We already know. So you're already a criminal. First of all, you're a criminal for crossing the border illegally. That's you're breaking the law. Just like if you maybe people think that drunk driving is not a really bad law, but if you're driving drunk, it's illegal. You're going to go to jail. You can't sit there and get mad at this guy and say, well, he's only drunk because he got problems at home and this and stuff like this. They're only crossing the border because they're trying to get away from this and away from that and away from this. It don't matter. It's illegal. Go to the border at the checkpoint and say, I want an asylum. My life is in danger. There's a process for those people who asking for asylum, and we take them in. So while we're sitting here acting like the wall is a bad thing, some of y'all are are not educated. That just shows me you're not educated. You're not educated about the facts of the whole situation. You're only going off your emotions because a bunch of people are getting up trying to get some talking points so that they can get certain votes. Because guess what? You know why the immigration thing is a big thing for Democrats right now? Because the black folks went over to Trump's side. I'm sorry. Majority of them have. And that's a statistical fact, guys. You see it all over the internet. Brexit movement. Like, people are not dumb. Black folk ain't dumb. So guess what? They can't rely on the black vote anymore. So they don't care. So now it's all about immigrants. And it's not fair that you're not they're clumping the immigration, legal immigration in with illegal immigration, right? So safety. Another one of the things the war is combating is MS-13. MS-13. They're sex trafficking. I actually was just watching the show. I'm not going to mention the show because they ain't giving me no coins to promote them. Like, I'm in that phase, y'all. I need coins because, brother, I'm tired of working for other people. But anyways, I was watching the show, and this show had a gentleman who worked for ICE and Homeland Security, some different things. He ended up quitting Homeland Security and ended up because there were certain things he could not do because the government tied his hands. He actually started an organization to go rescue kids in other countries who are victims of sex trafficking and stuff like that. And they were talking about the highest growing criminal empire is sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, and child slavery. So slavery still exists today in other countries. And this is why I'm so sick of hearing black folks cry over the slavery situation in America and making it seem like America's this horrible country because we had slavery some 200 years ago. The fact that make this country good is the fact that we actually abolished it when there's countries that are still in slavery. There's countries that still promote slavery. And they've been doing it since decades before us. We were a country that was so great who said the slave can revolt, and people say, you know what? Yeah, that's not right. Let's get rid of it. Our country was so great that while other countries still practice slavery, we got rid of it. And then when we did it, people like Great Britain and different European countries has gotten rid of it, which I think is interesting. So knowing that, they're combating that. And they said the thing about ICE, people think that ICE just deals with illegal immigrants and gathering them. That's like a very small proportion of what they're doing. They're the biggest, ICE is one of the biggest organizations that deal with pedophiles and sex trafficking. No other organization does as much for sex trafficking as ICE and Homeland Security, because that is where most of it's happening, is illegal immigration. That's how it happens. That's what illegal immigration is a lot about. It's about sex trafficking and trafficking humans and slavery and stuff like that. So we're not seeing the facts. And when I'm listening to people who are actually fighting these fights or out there, this guy was so restricted by the government and what he could do. Because of us, we think ICE is a bad thing. We think Homeland Security is a bad thing. So guess what? We got laws that restrict what we can and can't do. He had to go start his own organization so that he can legally go into other countries and help sex trafficking. Help get these countries in a better place, because we can't interfere in foreign policy unless because if we did, just like y'all saying, oh, Trump he's over there with the Ukraine trying to interfere and all this stupid stuff. Like, we get mad when we interfere in other countries, but then all these other countries, immigrants that come on over here because the countries are bad. Then we're mad because we won't take them in, but you're going to want to say that we're supposed to do something about it, but we're not supposed to do something about it. So this guy went out and created his own organization to go help free kids. They saved over, since he started, they said they saved over, I think it was 20,000 kids since they started that organization. I'm like, man, thank God. Thank God somebody's doing something. And it takes a private organization. Wow, a private organization. Oh, but we don't like that because that's capitalism, right? When private organizations take over things, it's capitalism. But saved almost 20,000 kids since he started. Wow. because we don't see no governments doing that, right? But anyways, so another thing this wall is about is not only combating obviously gang recruitment, sex trafficking, drugs, the regulation of what's coming in our population, job growth. Like if we're sitting here complaining that we don't have jobs, we don't have enough jobs in America, we want more jobs, we want more jobs, we're always saying we need more jobs, we want all our politicians to give us more jobs, but yet we're bringing people in here to take the jobs that we have. We're blaming the millionaires and the corporations for hiring cheap labor, but then we're allowing the cheap labor to come in here. How does that make sense? We're advocating for illegals to be over here illegal, and we're not supposed to question it. We're not supposed to force them to get citizenships, but they're over here working for pennies. And not only that, we're actually advocating for them to have jobs. Well, they have jobs and they're doing right by being here, and they're working and working hard. We're advocating for them to have jobs, but yet we have our own homeless who don't have jobs. We have our own communities that don't have jobs. Black community, i.e., some of our Latino communities, i.e., we have such high crime in some of these communities because there's no jobs, but yet we're allowing somebody from another country to come in and work for less than what we fight for. We fight for a living wage, and we fight for raising our minimum wage and making sure that the people have enough money to live. But yet we're undermining that by allowing illegal immigrants to come in who are not legally work, but they want to work, so then they'll work. And guess what? This guy over here is like, whoa, they can't hold me to the minimum wage because, they want to work. I can't really legally hire them, so I can't really legally hire them at minimum wage. So I'll give them a little money under the table, boom, and then they do the job. And wondering why we don't have jobs. So then we got people who uphold the law and say, hey, they're here illegally, so we need to bring them back to their country because they have to be a citizen to be here. They have to have work visas to be here. That's what and it's funny because people from other countries do it right. People come here from Africa, get their student visas, get their work visas. People come from India, get their student visas, their work visas. They come here and do it right, but yet we're giving an excuse for the people south of the border to come here and do it illegally. We're undermining our law. This is one of the things why I say I like common sense politics. And when I start looking at some of our liberal democratic policies, they contradict one another. I'm like, wait, how are you going to fight for minimum wage, but yet you're going to let people come over here and live for free, not pay taxes, and get paid under the table and work? Because guess what? And I'm not saying that big corporations are always being greedy, or people who hire illegals are being greedy. They might just be like, they need help too. They might be literally trying to help these people, saying, but they know that they can't legally hire them. So then they do stuff like, let me hire you. I'll give you this amount of money to do this, this, and this, and this. And they give them a little bit of money so it doesn't look bad. So then the auditors from the IRS ain't coming to them like, hey, you know what? Like, you're paying somebody that we don't know that you're paying. Like, wait, what's going on here? Because they can't legally hire them. They can't legally report them. The IRS coming down on us. So guess what? They're not going to pay them a minimum wage. They're not going to pay them all this high stuff. They're going to be paying them little pennies so it doesn't look bad. They're trying not to get audited. They're trying to help somebody, but yet trying not to get in trouble with the IRS. So it doesn't make sense. Your policy does not make sense because you're not considering that. This is what I like about sometimes when we're doing certain policies, we have to understand, okay, what is all of the factors that play into this? When you allow illegal immigrants to come and stay into our country, you put businesses at risk who like genuine, and I'm not talking about crooked people. We're not doing that. I'm not finna sit here and act like everybody's crooked because everybody ain't crooked. We're talking about people who genuinely want to help these people. And they're saying, well, they need a job too. They're here. Well, let me help them eat. Let me help them, do this. They came to me for a job. Let me help them. But then they can't legally do it. So, but then y'all trying to make it that they legally do it. But that doesn't make. So now you're undercutting the people who actually need help, which is the poor people in our communities. And I'm sorry. I think we should take care of our own first before we allow any other persons who who don't contribute to come in. Now, if those immigrants come over and they start businesses and they do what they need to do, they get the citizenship, then fine. But if they're not, no, we don't need to be helping them. They need to go back to their own country. That's what a border is for. That's what sovereignty is about. That's what having our country, you have to embrace the values of this country before you decide that you want to come here and work and take advantage of our system. That's another thing that this wall is about. It's about protection. It's about protection on the level of safety, crime, drugs, sex trafficking. Is about protection on our economy, our jobs, our homeless. Like we should go harder for our homeless population than these illegals that are coming over here not legally. It's funny how California is so quick to hide these illegal immigrants, but we got such a bad population of homeless people. Like it's bad. I'm sorry, when I'm downtown LA, it stinks. It stinks. Because people pee on the sidewalk. People laying on the sidewalk. These people ain't got showers. They don't have proper medical. They're just laying out there on the street, just ridden with tents and trash all over downtown LA. It is not pretty. I like how when they show us on TV, and because I used to work for a security company that helped do movies and commercials and stuff like that. Do you know when they go and do the commercial, they hire security so we can clear off the block of homeless people and people laying there in their tents and stuff like that? They literally pay for that block. So this is why when you see the commercials and the TV, it looks so nice. Oh, LA is so nice. But when that commercial was done being shot, all the homeless people move right back in. It's bad. It's horrible. But yet we're protecting illegals. People who ain't even supposed to be here. Come on, guys. Where are our priorities? We're taking on more problems than we can handle and wondering why our taxes are high and why this is high. And they're going to tax us more because they got to do something with these illegals and people that ain't supposed to be here. So I'm sorry. That's how I see the wall. I don't care what the Democrats say. I don't care what Trump say. I believe that wall. And the funny thing is we already got a wall there. It's always been a wall there. Now, there are some parts of the countryside that don't have a wall because obviously the technology at the time that they built the wall probably wasn't sophisticated enough to actually build a wall over certain barriers and certain natural barriers and stuff like that. But I believe that if we have the wall and the stretch of land that we need to have, those natural barriers that are hard to build a wall on, we'll be able to patrol a little bit more easier instead of vast lands of nothing. So, but we'll be back at this. We'll be talking more on this. Thank you guys for joining me on this show. I really appreciate that. Kenda, make sure you like and subscribe. All my social medias, that's Chris Conscious, that's the Wiley Life, that's Speed Music Radio, and also Cypher on the Block. You can find me on all of those. You don't have to subscribe to all, but I would like if you do subscribe to all. I have a Patreon account. That's Wiley Life at Patreon, patreon.com/The Wiley Life. Please go ahead and if you support my show. I also have a store. You can get t-shirts, you can get mugs, like you can get my Feel Me, woo, or you can get my We Out Here in the Streets shirt. And then I have a lot of other hoodies and stuff coming. I got my Get Big Elite stuff. If you guys are into fitness and workout, very nice things that you guys can support the show by purchasing. Excuse me, that was a nasty burp. So, hey, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, we out here in these streets.